If you look at the news today, it feels like we are drowning in a sea of unrelated emergencies. From the rapid ascent of AI to the destabilization of global ecosystems, the sheer volume of threats creates a constant, inescapable sense of overwhelm. Most of our attempts to fix these problems fail because we treat them as isolated events, treating the symptoms of a disease rather than identifying the cause. This flooded street is the physical accumulation of a global economic system that rewards individual actors for externalizing costs. When every nation and corporation prioritizes short-term growth over the stability of the biosphere, the result eventually arrives at our front doors. Daniel Schmachtenberger argues that these aren't separate crises at all. They are different faces of a single phenomenon he calls the meta-crisis, an underlying failure in how our civilization makes choices. Our institutions were built to manage complicated systems, like a factory, where parts are predictable and replaceable. But our global civilization is a complex adaptive system. Pulling one lever to fix a problem often triggers unintended consequences that break the whole. To survive, we have to move past the symptoms and diagnose the generator functions, the deep-seated logic that is driving our civilization towards self-termination. The first of these generator functions is the multipolar trap, a situation where win-lose incentives force everyone to act against their own long-term interests. This diagram illustrates the mathematical necessity of defection. If multiple actors share a resource and one actor tries to show restraint, their rivals will simply consume the remainder. In this system, acting responsibly ensures your own obsolescence, forcing a collective race to the bottom. This line in the dirt is the physical result of that trap. If one company chooses not to clear-cut the forest, they lose their competitive advantage to the company that will. The individual incentive is directly opposed to the survival of the ecosystem. Schmachtenberger uses a thought experiment to show how these traps hold us captive. Imagine a country where everyone is forced to shock themselves for 8 hours a day, and anyone who stops is killed by the rest. Even if every single person hates the rules, the risk of being the first to stop is death. Without a way to coordinate a simultaneous defection, the destructive system endures. In this context, personal morality is secondary to the system's architecture. As long as our operating system is rooted in win-lose rivalry, even well-intentioned people are forced to participate in systemic destruction. Win-lose games have existed for millennia, but for most of human history, the damage was localized. If a tribe exhausted their soil or fought a war, the impact was geographically bounded. During the industrial era, our capacity to extract resources grew significantly, yet it was still limited by the physical boundaries of the planet's ability to recover and the relatively slow speed of technological change. That has changed with the second generator function, exponential technology. Modern tools like synthetic biology, autonomous AI, and nuclear weapons have removed those historical boundaries, giving us a planetary scale capacity for impact. We have reached a terminal threshold. When you pair win-lose rivalry with technologies that can destabilize the entire biosphere, the game itself becomes self-terminating. Winning the competition now means destroying the playing field. Humanity is currently in a state of technological adolescence, possessing the ability to affect the entire planet, but still operating with the primitive, rivalrous wisdom of a tribe. The only way to escape these traps is through a level of global coordination that humanity has never achieved before. In the 20th century, we tried to build top-down, centralized institutions to facilitate this coordination, hoping that a shared table for world leaders could prevent total collapse. But those institutions are being hollowed out by the third generator function, the war on sensemaking. Our information ecology is no longer designed to inform us, but to win zero-sum games of narrative control. Algorithmic manipulation and information warfare have fractured our shared reality, turning the internet into a machine that optimizes for polarized conflict rather than truth. We find ourselves in a tragic paradox. We are facing existential risks that require us to act as a single, coordinated species at the exact moment our capacity to agree on basic facts has been systematically broken. Our current operating system leads to two failure modes: chaos, where social systems fracture under simultaneous shocks, or oppression, where societies trade agency for totalizing surveillance. The third attractor bypasses both, shifting to an omni-win civilization, where individual success inherently enhances the whole. This is not a utopian dream, it is a design requirement. If the destructive power of individuals continues to increase exponentially, the only way to ensure the survival of the collective is to create a system where no one has an incentive to defect. This shift cannot be forced from the top down. Because the meta-crisis is rooted in how we perceive and choose, the transition must begin with the smallest unit of coordination, the individual mind. This is where we find epistemic sovereignty, the ability to think independently despite narrative warfare and algorithmic echo chambers. If we cannot trust our own ability to distinguish signal from noise, we cannot begin to build the collective trust necessary to solve global traps. Historically, the goal of information technology was mass distribution. But in an age of information overwhelm, our primary responsibility is discernment. We must learn to recognize the limits of our own maps and understand how our frameworks shape what we see. This starts with the grounded work of practicing epistemic humility, engaging in genuine dialogue across divides, and building trustworthy local systems that can withstand the broader systemic decline. The meta-crisis is a challenge of coordination and character. Its resolution lies in our ability to develop a collective intelligence that is as profound as the tools we have created, ensuring the 21st century marks the beginning